welcome to the first annual Beautiful Boy Awards, featuring Jamie, Rick, Dakota, and here's your host, Nathaniel. Welcome everybody to the Beautiful Boycast. This is our fourth episode today. We've got a very special treat for everyone. We're doing our first ever Game of the Year Awards, or as I like to call them, the Beautiful Boy Awards, the BBAs. We've got our lovely host of panelists today. We're going to be talking a little bit about everything, and we're going to start this all off with just some of our thoughts for the year of 2017 for video games. Guys, let me know what you think. How was 2017 for video games?
2017 was awesome.
Pretty dang sweet.
It was probably the best in a while.
Definitely one of the better years we've had in a while. I don't know about you guys, but this is probably the biggest year in games, at least since 2007, in my opinion.
I don't know. I feel like we've had a lot of great years in between, but last year was definitely super strong as far as the last, you said 2007, so the last decade's concerned, in my opinion.
Japan wins.
I think this year was pretty big for a lot of games, and then there was a lot of big situations that came up and a lot of changes that we're going to see in the future for the industry as a whole.
Yeah, definitely. It was the best year for individual video games, but probably one of the most important and I guess crappiest for the industry as a whole, because there have just been so many things that have happened. And of course, as Rick mentioned, the Japanese video game industry sort of came back strong after setting out, at least for the most part, the better portion of a generation and a half of formerly dominating the market.
Also, Nintendo had one of their strongest years in a while, without a doubt.
Nintendo definitely worked really hard, and I think we'll get into that more later. But we're going to start this. This is an award show, and we're going to start this off by giving a handful of awards away. The first award is the Beautiful Boy Award for 2017's biggest shit show in the video game industry. I think we almost all unanimously agree on this one.
Is it Battlefront 2? It better be Battlefront 2.
I think it's definitely EA.
And everything they've done.
Yeah, both for their practices as well as the games that they have put out in the past 12 months.
Yeah, EA was just horrible. There was the Battlefront 2 thing, which kind of really brought the spotlight onto loot boxes. Need for Speed wasn't very good. I believe their sports titles were actually having trouble too. A lot of people were like, wait a minute. We got this 4 years ago. EA, what are you doing?
Their PR was just a disaster.
Burned. And for me personally, the entire thing with Visceral, because I really loved the Dead Space series, and they shut Visceral down hard, which sucked. I
don't recall, but I remember at E3, EA's presence wasn't that big. They weren't really showing off a whole lot.
They just showed off their sports games to their investors.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's kind of shocking because at least at E3, I remember people were really excited for Battlefront 2. And I guess that it just kind of proves that even if you've got a game that is well crafted and everything and it's fun to play,
they fucked it up.
Yeah, very anti-consumer practices can ruin a title like that.
They can fluff and alter a ton of that stuff to make it seem all pretty for the press and the people playing it. And then when you get to the actual game, it's just so bad.
Well, let's move on to something a little more positive, and I don't think there's an actual consensus here, like there is on the first award, but the biggest surprise for last year for you guys.
If I remember right, I think I settled on Rabbids as mine. I think that's what I ended up putting down in writing. And
yeah, that's what you and I both had, Rick.
Yeah, because that's That's a thing that kind of came out of nowhere. That's a video game that did the thing and it was actually good with Rabbids.
Yeah. Yeah. Not only was it a big surprise that it actually exists after all this time, and that it came so quickly. It was like out in 2 months after it was announced, but it was good. Um, and it was not your typical Mario or Rabbids game.
My biggest surprise is the announcement of Metroid Prime 4. I know that the Prime series is a really like beloved trilogy of Metroid, and I assumed fully that series would be done and we would see the next mainline Metroid be shown off a little bit, but to see they're going back to Prime is interesting. I wonder what they'll do as far as the structure. Maybe they'll take it more. Well, I don't know if they'll take it like more actiony or go more open world or not. With it
I have a
remains to be
feeling.
seen.
I have
but
a
I'm
feeling it's
excited.
going to get Breath of the Wild eyes like Mario did.
Maybe. I think that it's probably going to stick more to that old Prime format, just in part because, and maybe this is just me, but I think an open world Metroid Prime wouldn't be as much fun as, say, just a standard third person styled Metroid Prime in an open world setting. But open level design is very, very popular now, as both Mario and Zelda have showed us, so you never
Yeah,
know.
that's what I mean. Just more like open level design and more kind of freedom is what you can do with Samus. Say, I'll just use the example of Arkham Asylum. That kind of shows you what you can kind of do with an open style Metroid game where you're getting the new gadgets and stuff to do things, but everything's kind of do it however you want.
Yeah, I guess that would be a good example because with Arkham Asylum, you had a more 3D Metroidvania style title,
Mm-hmm.
and then going to Arkham City, you had an open world. But I would argue that that's a reason not to do it because they lost so much of the character of Arkham Asylum in switching to those open world city games.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of all I have to say on my biggest surprise.
Yeah, Metroid's back, and Mario's fighting with Rabbids using guns. Um, and Dakota, what was your biggest surprise of the year?
The fact that I actually beat a game before the year was over.
Wow.
Did
That's,
you only beat one game?
As far as I know, because I dropped Zelda, I can still go finish Zelda.
Yeah, we talked
I-
about that.
I bought Pokemon, didn't play Pokemon.
That's not. Yeah, you can. Don't worry, you can skip it.
Yeah, we got
You can skip Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Did it end up not being that good? Because I didn't even finish it.
Yeah, I did like a 2 or 3 sentence write up on it recently. It's Sun and Moon. I guess this can kind of work my way into the next one. Which our next award is biggest disappointment, but I'll bring this up because it was a disappointment.
Uh-oh.
It's Ultra Sun. It's Sun and Moon again, with the worst story in my opinion. And really, I think that if this had come out a year from now, as opposed to a year after Sun and Moon, if there had been a bigger gap, that it might be better. But you're just doing so much of the same stuff, and Sun and Moon was already a very long game, so you're just sort of stacking that on top of again with just not enough new content. I think if you've played Sun and Moon and you got your fill, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is completely skippable.
I bought it
But,
for the collectors. So
But for the collectors, whatever. It's our curse. But let's move into our official next award, biggest disappointment of the year. And I don't know where everybody sits on this, but for me, it was definitely Mass Effect Andromeda.
Andromeda is mine. Fuck it. Suck my dick, Andromeda. I hate that game. You ruined it. You ruined it.
Yeah, say what you will about the ending of Mass Effect 3, which wasn't that bad, but Andromeda definitely put the bullet in the coffin for this
I was about to
series.
say Andromeda literally made Mass Effect is kill.
It just, God, they went open world, but they basically took the stylings of those stupid fetch quests, the stupid time wasting side quest, and it might have been forgivable had the story been good or the gunplay had been more than what it was. But man, it just failed on every front. Not to even mention the technical issues with this game, which still I played it 6 months after launch, and it still was not playable to the fullest extent a current generation game should have.
As far as biggest disappointment, sorry, Dakota.
You're fine.
As far as biggest disappointments for me, I didn't really have one. Everything I played and did last year, as far as gaming and whatever, I was fairly happy with.
I guess another big disappointment was just the sort of the way that loot boxes were not only used in games, but how they blew up as well.
Yeah, the spotlight after Battlefront really got shined on loot boxes. Shadow of War, Need for Speed. I think even last year's Forza had trouble. It's disappointing because the loot boxes are cutting things behind a paywall, and people say, "Oh, they're optional." No, they want you to buy them. They're cutting like car upgrades and mods in Forza were locked behind some loot boxes, and that's not how games should be, guys. Stop.
That argument comes down to, and I completely agree with you on that you take entirely valid and completely acceptable content and you cut it out of the game and say, well, you got to pay for it, or you can work extremely unnecessarily hard and Skinner box you into sticking around. And it's I don't know, it's very anti-consumer, really.
The worst part is when it's stuff that Forza's pretty much an annual franchise now, and I want to say that was in the base game the previous year, not behind loot boxes.
We could probably go even further into loot boxes, and maybe down the road we will. This issue is sort of simmered now, but I don't think the fight's over.
And we don't need to beat a dead horse at the moment, because
yeah,
I mean, it's already it's been killed, and we have killed it, and it is dead, and they don't stop, and that's that.
Yeah.
And the next big problem, we'll get onto it when we get to it, right?
God, don't joke, because you know the next big problem is on its way.
Oh yeah, dude, it's already simmering right now.
I'll make another video whining about my video games if they make it even worse. Whining about fake boxes and fake games.
Hashtag plug.
Plugging
up.
Hard.
That wraps it up for, I guess, our year in review for the most part. Anything else that you guys want to mention before we get into our more democratically processed awards?
Fuck Andromeda, you killed my KOTOR successor.
Let's move on, and this is the award. These are the console exclusive games, or the platform exclusive games, that we wish to give, I guess, a spotlight to for a moment. So if you own this system and you're looking for a new game to play on it, here are a couple from last year that we absolutely loved. So the first award for Best Xbox One game, we were all in agreement on this one.
It's KOTOR.
We all agree this was the absolute best Xbox One game last year, and that is backwards compatibility with the original Xbox games.
And specifically for me, I put KOTOR as best Xbox One game.
So I guess it really comes down to, in this situation, did Microsoft just have such a poor slate last year, or is backwards compatibility really that big a deal, guys?
They had such a poor slate last year.
Yeah, they fucked it up.
Yeah.
It just so happened that the best game they made wasn't even a game that they made this year, or games they made.
Yeah, I love backwards compatibility, and the original Xbox has some fantastic games on it, but there's really nothing on the Xbox One that not only appealed to me, but I feel like that a lot of people felt that way as well. There was another annual Forza game. There was a console exclusive with Cuphead, which I didn't like all that much. And really, the only other big game I can even think of is like Halo Wars 2. And everybody forgot about that.
Not to derail, but I want to think, what was that game? It was Dark Forces or something. It was supposed to be like an early launch title. It was an original Xbox game, and they were going to put it a new version of it. Dark Phantom?
Phantom Dust?
Phantom Dust.
Phantom Dust. Phantom
Yeah, that got
Dust.
canceled.
Yeah, that got canceled. Yeah. And so did you guys hear Scalebound? Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So like
What?
the two games that might have been good just died.
Hold
Well,
on.
they did end up re-releasing like an HD.
Welcome to
version
Beautiful
of
Memes.
Phantom Dust.
Yeah, they
They-
did re-release Phantom Dust on Windows 10 and Xbox One.
But that remaster / remake was
Yeah,
dead.
it's dead.
It
It's
also
gone.
has microtransactions.
Oh,
Really?
fun. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it does. I want to say it does. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure.
It's
Either way-
2017, I'm not surprised.
Either way, there was two good shots and you just shit all over them. So
Yeah, huge disappointment for the Xbox One last year, and the coming year doesn't look all that grand for it either, but we'll see what comes.
Next year we'll get KOTOR 2.
Hopefully. I can't wait to play the sequel. All right.
I've been waiting for KOTOR 2 for forever.
So moving on to the oldest system for this list is going to be our best Nintendo 3DS game, and we all didn't agree on this one, but the majority of people agreed that the best 3DS game from last year was Metroid: Samus Returns.
You can probably figure out what I voted for based on my name.
oh, Metroid.
Yeah, Samus Returns, a really good 2D remake of Metroid, even if it does feel a little too close to God of War for my taste. I still loved it. It still cracked my top games of the year.
It was way better than I expected it to be coming from Mercury Steam, which I'm going to imagine is due to Nintendo's involvement.
There's a strong possibility of that, yeah.
I was very happy with Metroid on 3DS because I'd never played the original version of the game. This sort of modern, you can almost call it a reimagining, honestly, was cool. I know they took some liberties with the ending of the game, which some people either loved and or hated. I thought it was fine. It was fun. But I'm just happy with the game. The production values were great. And I'm hoping, I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm hoping they let Mercury Steam do the next 2D Metroid, whatever it is. I wouldn't mind that. But it's kind of all I have to say on it.
I definitely wouldn't necessarily mind Mercury Steam making the next Metroid, and they definitely would have to work really hard to make a really good Metroid game.
I would rather someone else. I feel like it was good in spite of Mercury Steam instead of because of them.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of any of their games.
Well, now let me clarify. I don't think they'll do the next 2D Metroid, but I wouldn't be upset if Nintendo was like, here's Metroid, whatever we're doing, Mercury Steam's doing it, we're going to be involved to help, but there you go.
We'll definitely have to see. They did sort of tease at the end of or not the end of the game, but through some secret stuff, potentially a new original Metroid title. That would be really interesting. But at least I actually did not vote for Metroid: Samus Returns for best 3DS game. I preferred Fire Emblem Echoes, and I don't think anyone else got to play that this last year.
I have it. I'm going to be playing it soon, so my answer could, I guess, retroactively change at some point. But right now it's Metroid, but I'm excited to play Fire Emblem.
Yeah, kind of crazy how two of the biggest 3DS games this year were remakes of early 90s 8-bit titles.
That is kind of funny.
Yeah, so I don't know about you guys, but if they want to make a 3D remake of Super Mario Brothers 2 this year, I'm all for it. I'd buy
Super
that day
Mario
one.
Brothers 2, baby!
You
All
do
right.
that voice too well.
So let's move on to the next title, our best Nintendo Switch game, the first ever winner. Well, this is the first video that first awards, but whatever. But the best Nintendo Switch game, we were
All
all
of
in
them.
agreement on this one,
Just kidding.
by far. But it was The Legend of Zelda: Breath
Mario
of the
Kart
Wild.
8 Deluxe.
Paper clips.
Snipper clips.
Sniffer clips.
Sniffer clips.
I'm sorry. My favorite game was the paper clips.
1-2 switch.
We've already talked at length about Zelda, so I don't think we should get too deep into it. But were there any other Switch games that you guys wanted to mention at this point from our list of nominees?
Odyssey's great. It's got flaws, like it's a collectathon, which was a mistake to me, but it's really good.
The more time I sit on Odyssey, the less I like it, but it's undeniably a great game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a strong title. I don't know. I like Zelda, but that's just me.
I spent a lot of time playing my Switch this year. Definitely love Zelda. Definitely loved Mario.
I also really like Splatoon. I played that for the first time over at Rick's, actually, and it was just... And I think I talked about it privately a little bit. It's just pure fun. Something about it just really clicked with me, and I'm like, this is wonderful, and I'm going to buy it as soon as I can.
Yeah, Splatoon 2 is a really, really good game. And even Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a lot of fun. So lots of great Nintendo Switch games for its first year. Probably, at least in my opinion, the best opening year for a game system ever.
Yeah, it was really solid.
Our next award is going to be for Best PlayStation 4 Game. And this is going to make somebody mad.
It's you'll never see it coming.
Yeah, but our winner.
Someone will get that meme.
Our best winner for best PlayStation 4 game. This is for a game that was exclusive to PlayStation consoles. Not just PlayStation 4 was the qualification, but the best PS4 game for last year was Horizon Zero Dawn.
What the fuck? Now my "you'll never see it coming" joke falls flat. It's supposed to be Persona 5.
I will.
You'll never see it coming. Yep.
I'll perfectly admit I haven't played Persona 5 yet because it's 1 billion hours long. So again, this could retroactively change. We're not going to redo the awards or anything. But again, Horizon's a game that we talked about already quite a bit. Any other PlayStation exclusives other than that one big one that we want to mention very quickly?
Persona
PlayStation
5.
All-Stars? What, you guys didn't like PlayStation All-Stars? What are we talking about?
That came out in like 2010.
I don't care.
I would like to mention Persona 5 to kind of quell Rick. Persona 5 is a great JRPG. It's a great, well-crafted game. But I ultimately had to give it to Horizon because I just had more fun with Horizon, and it's a new IP, which gets big points for me, so...
I vehemently disagree with all Horizon lovers. This is fucking Far Cry with robots. Persona 5 was way better.
But really, as far as PlayStation was concerned this year, Sony didn't really release any other big titles outside of Knack 2 and Uncharted: The Lost Legacy.
I mean, Sony had stuff. They had Horizon, they had Knack.
They had Horizon.
They had Gran Turismo, which I don't think any of us are big fans on, but they had it.
They had Horizon.
And
Gran Turismo Sport is supposed to be like half a game, though. Can you really count that?
Didn't Gravity Rush 2 come out last year?
Oh yeah, it did. None of us.
Sony doesn't want you to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the best year for Sony. And 2018, at least for me, is still looking rather dry. But let's move on to the final of our platform awards. You're probably wondering, are there any more platforms? Well, we do have one final award. It's Best PlayStation Vita Game. And the winner...
Do what now?
Oh, I'm sorry. Best multi-platform game. I'm sorry. I forgot. The Vita doesn't have any games. We were almost all unanimous on this one. It's a game we've talked about before, but we ended up picking Nier Automata, which came out on PlayStation 4 and PC in March of 2017.
I am glad that Nier well, I can't really say /Drakengard, but more so Nier has become mainstream. Or hardcore mainstream. I wouldn't say mainstream, but...
Yeah, Automata is a really, really good game. I think it's a game that's almost hard to talk about because it's a game that's really hard to wrap your head around until you sit down and you just play through the whole thing. But we didn't all vote for Nier. I believe, Jamie, you had a different vote for this award.
That's because he hasn't played Nier.
Yeah, Near's one. I it came out. I wasn't really too into it, but it's after I played the demo, I was like, okay. My multi-platform ultimately had to go to Wolfenstein 2. That is just a very well-made shooter. It's got a surprisingly well-done story, which can be hit or miss for a lot of shooters. It's usually miss. The gameplay's fun. They add some new gadgets to kind of encourage different play styles. It's fun dual wielding a crazy shotgun with an assault rifle or an energy rifle, whatever. And I really hope we get Wolfenstein 3 in 3 years.
Yeah, I enjoyed Wolfenstein 2 as well. I just didn't think it quite hit that same level of greatness that Nier did.
Nier also wins the best booty category, best girl category, and also
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's hold off on the best booty.
We have a lot of categories to go here specifically about 2B.
Okay.
The best girl named after a pencil.
Yeah. God damn it.
All right. Well, we still have a few other awards. And these next few awards are something that we couldn't necessarily all agree on. So we decided that we're just going to talk about each of these and discuss our favorite games in each of these categories. So the first of these is best art style. So that would be the best, I guess, artistic direction that a game took in the way that it looks in the world and how it interacts. Guys, what are your picks for this?
Persona 5, because it's the only game I've ever seen to get people excited about just seeing the menus.
I had to give mine to Spectre of Torment because I am a sucker for pixel art. And, Shovel Knight was already a gorgeous game. Spectre Knight is more or less the same art style, but they do have some new designs and some really good animations that just look wonderful in the pixel art.
I have to agree with both of you guys. Both of those games looked fantastic. But for me personally, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is the one game that every single time I looked at it, I kept saying that it was beautiful after over 70 hours. And to me, that best exemplifies a great art style.
Hold up. You beat The Legend of Zelda in 70 hours?
I beat it in 60.
Well,
that's about how long it took me as well.
I'm at 90 and I only got 2 of them killed, so...
Yeah, but Dakota, you just go and fish and hunt food.
This is not a lie.
Right. Dakota, do you have a pick for best art style of the year?
Not really. Do I have one? I don't think I have one.
Those menus.
It's kind of a weird award. It's one that you don't typically hear a lot about, but we here at the Beautiful Boys, we want to give those artists out there and everybody else who works on the technical side of gaming a shout out.
Yep, they're the unsung heroes.
Look, having a beautiful game is a really big difference.
Thank you, Papa
definitely.
Atlas.
Definitely. And there were lots of beautiful games last year.
Mm-hmm.
And not just hyper realistic ones, by the way. Not just hyper realistic, like really good stylized games. There's a difference in trying to make it look real and making it look consistent and believable and lovable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually prefer games that don't look hyper realistic whenever I think of this award. Because if I want to see what the world looks like, I'm just going to go step outside.
Look out the window. It's kind of like a monitor.
Yeah, I've always thought that games like World of Warcraft always look just beautiful just because of the style that they go for it. Instead of just trying to do something realistic, they go for a timeless look.
I'm a big fan of the pixel art and cell shading, and we didn't get a Borderlands last year, so cell shading's out, so it had to go to Spectre of Torment.
Well, our next big award is for Best Individual Vocal Performance. So this is an award that is for a single voice actor or actress who we felt like went above and beyond in video games this year for their vocal performance. Jamie, you and I actually ended up picking the same voice actress for this award.
Yes, we both went with Ashley Birch, who gave us a great performance as Aloy.
I really enjoyed it. I feel like the voiceover for Aloy in Horizon, part of what made her such a great character. And Ashley Birch is a really solid voice actress anyway.
Yeah, she's like the Troy Baker of female voice actresses in video games.
Yeah, definitely getting there. But I also felt like there were some good vocal performances in Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, Wolfenstein 2. A lot of your more high-budget cinematic style video games.
Which Ashley Birch was also in.
Oh yeah, she was. Wow, good for her.
Well, for me, it was Kira Buckland doing 2B, and once again, 2B wins another category, for me at least. Kira Buckland was great as 2B. Voice acting overall in Automata was great, but I especially loved everything about 2B.
I liked 2B as well. I feel like, without getting into too many spoilers, I kind of preferred 2A's vocal performance over 2B's.
You can't go wrong.
But that's just my personal opinion. And if that's all we have to say, let's move on to Best Multiplayer. An award.
Battlefront 2.
Overwatch wins again.
So, Rick, you picked Overwatch, a game that didn't come out this year. Can you read? And if so, what's wrong with you?
I really like Overwatch.
Thank you for that explanation. Your doctorate's in the mail.
Okay, it's still the best multiplayer game. And I did put a side note that if I had to pick a game from this year, it would be PUBG, but it's actually Overwatch.
PUBG's kind of like a noodle, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Overwatch is like a full plate of spaghetti.
I don't know. I can't really say much about PUBG, but Overwatch is still fantastic. I will admit that. But for me personally, despite how good Overwatch is, I had to give it to Splatoon 2. I put way more time into this game. It's got fantastic competitive and cooperative multiplayer. It is just so much fun.
And you're a squid now. You're a kid. Sorry.
Thanks. Now we got a copyright strike.
Nah, it was less than like 5 seconds.
We can't monetize anyways, because...
And we need your help. Hit the subscribe button so that way the beautiful boys can make money.
I actually ended up agreeing with you there, Nathaniel, on multiplayer for Splatoon 2.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 100%.
After so much
I
hate...
I know.
I never hated on it. I was like,
No, you did. You gave Splatoon so
Splatoon.
much shit until you actually finally played it.
What's good? This is being cut.
No, it's not.
We're just starting off with
staying
this.
in.
No.
Yeah.
But
This
anyway,
is the title. What are you talking about?
Anyway, my personal best multiplayer was Splatoon 2. As I kind of mentioned earlier, I played it at Rick's. I think we actually started out playing Splatoon 2 after Rick showed me that Battlefront sucks, but it's pretty. Splatoon 2 is the game even when I was playing Breath of the Wild at Rick's, I was just like, okay, I kind of want to go back to Splatoon and do one more match.
That's all he kept on asking the whole time. One
I
more
was
match.
like, there's
Like
just
you were addicted.
there's just something whimsically fun about Splatoon that has grabbed me. I haven't felt this way about a multiplayer shooter in a while. I just wanted to keep playing it, and when I wasn't, that's what I wanted to be doing. I wanted to be back in Splatoon. It's fun if you haven't played it. Go play it. You can run around with the NES Zapper and shoot squid ink. I don't know what I was shooting, but it was fun.
Thanks for that, Jamie. I completely agree. And so does my wife. One of the few games that she has probably played more of this past year than I have. But let's move on. Best original soundtrack. None of us have agreed on this one. And I honestly...
Rick and I agreed.
Oh, you did? Well,
Rick
some
and
of
I
us
agreed.
agreed on it. And those people that agreed on it are wrong.
No, it's actually extremely right, and you would agree too if you fucking played it.
Well, they should make the goddamn game shorter. I had a lot of trouble picking the best original soundtrack for the year, but I ended up going with Sonic Mania. I still listen to this soundtrack to this day, and I still think it is the absolute... well, maybe not the absolute, because I'm still sort of wishy-washy on it and some others, but it's still probably my favorite soundtrack of the last year. I think it's just fantastic.
Persona 5's is way too good. You got A Rivers in the Desert, Life Will Change, Last Surprise, all these amazing tracks. It's way too good.
Now, I have to ask, because Nathaniel said Sonic Mania, and he still listens to it to this day. You just listen to Green Hill Zone on repeat?
Oh no, I listened to all.
I mean, it's okay,
basically-
Nat. I like the Green Hill Zone music.
I listened to a lot of them, and it was a tough decision because I didn't know. I really like Super Mario Odyssey soundtrack as well, and how that soundtrack works with the game world. But I feel like that falls under sound design more. But Sonic Mania is still my favorite. Maybe it's just because I love chiptunes so much, but it was my absolute favorite from last year.
For me personally, I had to agree with Rick. Persona 5 all the way. It's just a jazzy kind of. You're not sad when you're hearing a Persona 5 jam. They're always appropriate for the dungeon. The main theme is awesome. It's just a really good game. Stylish. Soundtrack's great.
Oh, and Beneath the Mask. That's another really good track. There's too many. Especially Beneath the Mask Rain version. That's great.
Well, if that is all we have for Best Original Soundtrack, let's move on to the final of our individual Beautiful Boy Awards for Best Indie Game or Best Independently created title. So this is your non-AAA games, the stuff that you find on Steam, the stuff that you find on Humble Bundle. Guys, what was your favorite indie game of last year?
I've got a lot on my list to get to, so I don't have too much of a pool to pick from. But overall, I've really liked the response that Doki Doki Literature Club has had. But I'm still planning on getting to things like Hat in Time and Spectre of Torment and Cuphead.
Spectre of Torment is wonderful. I don't care that it's just an expansion for Shovel Knight. It's good enough that it can be its own game, and it is, because they separately. There's nothing that was as satisfying to me as slashing through enemies as Spectre Knight, doing the rail grinding. Even the wall climbing was awesome. Kind of reminded me of Metroid a little bit. And it's way better than Plague of Shadows, which was god-awful.
See, and by saying that, your whole opinion isn't valid, because Plague of Shadows is really good.
He just hates it for some reason.
I
No
don't
one
think
will
he knows
ever
how to
understand
play it.
why.
He just doesn't get it.
No one listening will ever understand the enigma that is Jamie.
I played quite a few indie games this past year. I played Spectre of Torment. I played Cuphead. I played Hollow Knight. But none of them really stuck with me quite as much as a game that I have been looking forward to for so long, and I will not shut up about. That is a Hat
Yeah,
in
we
Time.
know.
Yeah, he
It
really
is a
won't shut
Hat
up.
in Time. I love this
Get
game.
your hat out of here. It's time for it to be over.
Yes, it was the first game that I ever pre-purchased and was waiting to download on Steam. And basically the moment it became available, I just started playing and I completed it. I absolutely love A Hat in Time. It is one of my favorite games of all time, and definitely the best indie game I played of 2017.
I want to give an anti-award to Hollow Knight. I did not like that game. Everyone lied. That is not a good Metroidvania. It's boring and long. Way too long.
Yeah, Hollow Knight is just... Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I played a bit of it, and I basically bought it purely on recommendation. I
Same
did
for
not
me.
enjoy Hollow Knight. It was just...
And everyone lied to me.
I think it's because it had Knight in the name, and I thought it was a Shovel Knight expansion at first. So, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But I bought it, and I agree with Rick. I did not enjoy it. I was bored with it from the beginning.
And Dakota doesn't play games, so we can move on.
I mean, the only indie game I played was that Soul Eater game, and I mean, besides like a few other things, but I only dabbled on those. But it was fun. I like Bullet Hills, I guess.
Yeah. Really hoping that 2018 has some really solid indie games. And I really hope Bloodstained is good. Because all of these other Kickstarter games that have been so massive just haven't met their marks. If that's all we have to say, let's move on to our final big 5 awards. These are the creme de la creme whenever it comes down to picking the absolute best of the year. And for these awards, the first one up is going to be Best Gameplay Direction. And this could sort of be best boiled down to which game plays the best, which game is the most interesting to play, which one did you have the most fun playing. And I think we almost all across the board agree on this one.
One,
like
two,
we have for a
switch.
lot of awards. Damn it, Rick, you spoiled it.
I get really excited about 1-2 Switch. That cowboy game is legit.
My favorite part of that game is milking the cow.
The milking cow competitions get
Yes.
really, really intense.
And to be honest, my time with 1-2 Switch, I do not remember. Because I was drunk. No, the real winner for Best Gameplay Direction.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
God damn it, quit! No, the real winner is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Somebody talk about this game.
Wow, real original there.
We've talked about this game so much. But since we talked about it so much, we all didn't vote for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild because one of
Who
us wants to
didn't?
be wrong. Jamie, will you give us your dissenting opinion?
Oh, of course it'd be him. Why did I think it'd be anyone else?
Yeah, you guys all picked Zelda. I had to not, mainly because I've only played like, I don't know, an hour or whatever of Zelda, I think, before you guys took it away from me. And I had to go with, that's what happened. Anyway, I had to go with Horizon. Out of all the things I've played, the action
So disgusting.
focused, fast, yeah. The action focused, fast combat, and franticness of Horizon's fighting was a big draw for me. I loved it. It was constantly making me think while I'm being chased
Horizon
by a
did the
robot
opposite
T-Rex.
of make me think.
And I really
I couldn't
enjoyed
resist. I do not feel the same about that game at all. I just can't.
Well, I guess we should also take a moment though to think about some of the other games that we played this year that had really good gameplay direction. Because we have talked about Zelda so much. But as far as for me personally, I love 3D platformers, and there were a lot of really, really good 3D platformers this past year. Odyssey, I thought, played fantastically. Mario moved better than he's ever moved before. A Hat in Time is absolutely fun to play. I even enjoyed Ukulele, which I know is not the most popular of opinions.
I really like the way that what is it? Samus Returns played, honestly. I know a lot of people don't really like how the melee counter became more integral as kind of like a combat focus. It slowed combat down a little bit, but
A little.
it was really cool.
Hold on. A little, boy.
I had no problem with the pace of it. I don't know what your deal is.
It turns the combat
But-
into just standing and waiting.
Metroid became a turn-based strategy game almost. But
Anyway,
anyways,
I thought it was fun. It was cool doing the counter on the Metroids and Samus doing cool flips like a bounty hunter should. So it was fine.
you would love Metroid Other M then, because that's all that game is.
He would also love Twin Snakes.
Hey, now that's a good Metal Gear.
I'm going there.
That's the best Metal Gear 1 version, whatever. That's the
Have
best
you
version of
have
it.
you
We're
watched
getting
some of
way
the
off
shit
topic.
Snake does in that game? It is
I played
so.
through the whole game, both discs.
How do you not laugh at him doing a giant cartwheel flip over to the other side of a door frame to just continue listening to the same conversation in the same room?
Because Metal Gear is corny. It was meant to be corny and campy.
It's not
and
that corny.
It fits perfect. Oh, really? How about naked somersaults while he's holding his junk so the camera doesn't see it? Huh?
But that's all necessary in context.
When did we wait, naked flips. When did we move over to the DMC?
Okay, we need to move on. We're completely off. I don't even know how we got here.
Do you guys? I didn't know we were
Rick.
talking about Dead or Alive. Extreme Beach Volleyball 2 here, but okay.
Hey, don't sully that. Okay, that's the best Xbox 360 exclusive.
I got it.
What,
I do too.
DOA Extreme?
Anyways,
Let's just go.
let's move on. Let's move on to best narrative direction. This kind of like how best gameplay direction gets boiled down to how a game plays. Narrative direction is how a game tells its story and how it's written and the characters within it. There were some really, really solid narrative-driven games this year, but I think at the end of the day, we all kind of came to a conclusion, except Jamie again, for whatever reason.
I haven't played it.
Because we picked Nier Automata. We've talked about this game quite a bit, it feels like, on the podcast, though.
She's pretty. Nier's pretty.
It has it has the best plot.
God damn it.
It's a really dense game.
It is a very dense game. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, this is the game that's the result of Aliens, right?
Yeah.
God.
See, I can get started here because in between Nier and Nier Automata, there is a thing called the Space Wars,
Okay.
and so Emil.
We really need to get into it. Because Nier is very much a game that is very difficult to talk about without spoiling everything. But you definitely should play Nier Automata, not only for its story, but because it plays well too. And play through endings A through E. I didn't believe it at first, but I did it, and it is a fantastic experience.
I was trying to encourage everyone to continue playing because if you just get ending A, you haven't beaten the game. And thankfully, at least in this one, they straight up just tell you on a message that just says, "Hey, keep playing. You just started."
And not only that, but I think because this is narrative direction as well, not just story or writing, the way that the story itself incorporates itself into gameplay, I feel like is probably one of the strongest parts of Nier.
The plot that's in that gameplay is really strong.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really
I don't know if you missed my intentions there or if you.
Yeah, she's got big tits. That was the.
She got a big old booty.
She got a big booty. She got big thighs. But like I said at the start, there's one of us who disagreed with us here on best narrative direction. And go ahead, Jamie. Go ahead.
No, Wolfenstein 2's story, much like the New Order, and I haven't played Old Blood because it's whatever, is really surprising to me because of the amount of characterization it tries to give to BJ Blazkowicz, our main character. It was well written. I thought all the main cast performances were great. I'm stoked to see if they do a sequel and where they can take it. Basically, just give me more Wolfenstein and keep up this quality. Machine Games is doing good work.
Our next award is for Best Developer, and this is Best Individual Developer. We discussed this, and I personally feel like we should give this to basically a singular developer as opposed to like a group of developers at, say, Nintendo or Ubisoft. Just because there are so many teams and they work on so many things that it's hard to compare them against smaller teams that only release one game a year. And for our pick, again, we were almost nearly unanimous on this one, was Platinum Games for Nier Automata.
They gave us L3 plus R3 for Nier Automata. Bless you, Platinum.
Platinum has, in this decade, has gone from just being sort of this little startup Japanese action game developer to one of the best game developers out there. It seems like everything that they release, barring their licensed titles, have all turned out really well.
What do you mean? Transformers Devastation was good.
Well, whatever. But Platinum itself is a really good game developer. Jamie, you disagreed with us, in part because you still haven't played Nier for whatever reason.
I mean, yeah, take it however you want, fans of the game, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I had to give my Best Developer award, for me personally, I had to give it to Guerrilla Games for Horizon. And mainly because...
Rick, simmer!
Mainly because Horizon is, I don't think, the kind of game anyone expected from a studio like Guerrilla. They're known for their dark, gritty shooters in Killzone, and for them to transform and do a great open
To do
world
Far Cry?
RPG, a great open world RPG was a big surprise, and then it turned out great is an even bigger surprise. So Guerrilla gets it for me. They're doing good work over there. Make a sequel.
Yeah, Far Cry 4.
Yeah,
5.
I'd say that there's already one coming out in March.
Yeah, Guerrilla did a really good job at making an open world game. It doesn't reinvent the wheel by any means, but it's certainly a very polished wheel. And I have to give them some credit for that, even if they didn't take home my favorite developer of the year. All right, just a handful of awards left, but our next award is for Best Game Publisher, and this is for the publisher who put out the best games, the most consistent games, all year long, and we all agree on this one. I don't think there's anybody who got close to this, but our best publisher was Nintendo.
Yeah, that was no contest. Nintendo delivered solid games like Breath of the Wild. We had Splatoon, Fire Emblem Warriors, which they didn't make, but they published, and Odyssey. So Nintendo just killed it this last year. 100%.
I need to make sure that I dissent and clarify that I voted for EA.
I'm
That's the best.
sorry, Rick. This is best publisher.
I don't understand.
Yeah, Nintendo knocked it out of the park this year.
It's Nintendo.
It's going to knock it out of the year again this year.
They still did it very Nintendo-y, but at least they were good.
Mm-hmm.
And even some of their, we talk about their best games, but they even had some titles that, didn't necessarily hit their mark, like Once You Switch or even ARMS. But still, it was a fantastic year, even with those less than stellar titles included.
And not to mention the fact that every 2 to 3 months you were playing a big Nintendo published game.
Oh, not even 2 to 3. It was basically every month. If it wasn't on Switch, there was one on 3DS for sure.
Well, I was leaving out bad stuff like ARMS.
And I guess we should also mention they've got stuff out on mobile now, too. Fire Emblem Warriors and Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which I think only you played, Nat.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Fire Emblem Warriors.
Animal Crossing.
My wife played Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. I'm not a big Animal Crossing person. So this year is definitely looking good for Nintendo. They've got a solid lineup of Switch games, at least for the first 6 months, even if most of them are ports. The 3DS is still getting some interesting titles, including the Game of the Year, Detective Pikachu.
I still can't tell if he's kidding or not about that, for the record.
We've got new mobile games coming, hopefully, in 2018. And there's Nintendo Labo, which I still think is one of the most creative pieces of software that Nintendo's put out in a very long time.
Nintendo fans wouldn't be crazy enough to buy cardboard, would they? Oh, wait. They are.
Well, they buy Pokemon cards.
That's not Nintendo.
Cards are different than cardboard, thank you.
They're all cardboard.
I got you, Jamie. Don't worry.
What's that supposed to mean, Nat?
But were there any other really good publishers from 2017 that we might have missed?
Okay, on to the next one.
No, I want to say Bethesda. Bethesda had Wolfenstein and Evil Within. They were great.
And the 6 editions of freaking Skyrim.
Yeah, and Skyrim 100.
And Prey.
And Fallout 4.1.
But no, really though, I mean, we joke, but they put Skyrim and Doom, which they published Evil Within 2, Wolfenstein 2. So I think, granted,
how many times do I have to say and Prey? You keep forgetting Prey.
Because nobody liked Prey.
Yeah, no, I love Prey. It was great.
Prey was so boring.
Prey's a great game. Bethesda just, to me, they had solid, but Nintendo gets the gold, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to think, we give Bethesda shit for porting every game to everything. But even on the Nintendo Switch, Bethesda is probably one of the biggest third-party publishers on there now, with Skyrim, Doom, and Wolfenstein coming next year.
And people do keep buying it.
It's true. It's unfortunately true.
But I guess I want to give just a small shout out to both Sega and Square Enix. Sega, who put out Sonic Mania, as well as Persona 5, technically.
Sonic Forces, their best game.
Oh, God. Well, and Square Enix, who did Nier Automata, amongst other things.
They put out Stormblood this year as well.
So, yeah. I mean, it was a really good year, and a lot of the publishers that we've mentioned are primarily Japanese. Just a great year for Japanese game developers as a whole. Well, guys, it is our final major award of the evening, and it's the award we've all been waiting for. But first, a word from our sponsors. At Gillette, we're always about giving you the closest...
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
Hey, it's the Hydrobot.
We'll have to edit that in post. But the final award is our Game of the Year. And for this particular award, we, in the future, we hope that this becomes something that we actually have to discuss more.
We hope that we'll agree.
Well, but for our Game of the Year, we decided to pick a handful of nominees. And these nominees are some of our favorite games of the year that we all voted on and everything. But the nominees, we have 6 nominees this year, and they are The Evil Within 2, A Hat in Time, Nier Automata, Persona 5, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Horizon Zero Dawn. And the winner is... Can I get a drum roll, please?
Dum.
You just call me dumb?
No.
Anyways, the winner for the very first ever Beautiful Boy Awards Game of the Year is The
Detective
Legend of Zelda
Pikachu.
Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Whoa, that's not out yet. But
that'll win this year, Dakota.
The first ever winner is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
What a surprise.
Yeah, not shocking, given how much we have jerked this game off since its announcement and release. But guys, I mean, it just kind of proves how great The Legend of Zelda is that we're still talking about it.
And also, Yakuza 0 should have been a nomination instead of Horizon, just saying, but no one else wanted to play it.
Just dropping that in there, guys.
Yeah, well, shut up, Rick, because you know what? Super Mario Odyssey should have been in there too instead of Horizon. Or Super Mario Odyssey, whatever. But yeah, a really, really solid year for video games. I absolutely love Zelda. I could still talk about it forever. But if you want to know more, go listen to that first podcast that we did.
It's awful.
But, of course, 3 out of the 4 beautiful boys agreed on Zelda as our Game of the Year. One person
Who
decided.
didn't again?
One person decided against it.
Quit singling me out.
Please give us your opinion on your Game of the Year winner.
Hey now, just because I didn't play Zelda for more than an hour, like Dakota, I had to give it to Horizon ultimately. Horizon was, from what I played, Horizon was the one that won for me. I don't know what else I can really say.
All these other things, and then you have to pick it as Game of the Year too. Just
I don't know
disgusting.
I don't know what else I can really say even about Horizon that I haven't while we've been doing this.
Yeah, we've talked about our Game of the Year nominees a ton, so we won't waste any more time. And we want to thank you for listening to this first ever Beautiful Boy Awards. We're not quite done though, because just because one year is ending, it doesn't mean everything's over, because we have a brand new year for video games. In 2018, there's a couple of games that are coming out that we're all looking forward to. Guys, what are some of your most anticipated games?
Monster Hunter!
Year.
We're
That's
gonna
fine.
kill Rick, by the way.
What was that? Monster. I've never heard of Monster Hunter.
Well,
You shouldn't. This is the first game in the series.
Oh, okay. It's a new IP.
God,
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking kill every one of you.
It's them doing it.
But as far as things that are actually announced, that is my most anticipated. I cannot wait. I have put more time into the beta and I have put more time in the beta than I have some actual full games.
That's sad.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. This is the voice of reason here. That's just kind of sad.
I
I spent like 2 hours on that final boss, though.
I cannot wait. It's so good. It's so
coming
good.
really soon too, like next week, I think, at the time of this recording. Well, I dated
Is it
this,
really?
Sorry.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
this week.
Oh shit! I gotta go pre-order it then.
Are you really gonna buy it,
Oh, fuck, I don't know. I'm getting paid next week.
dude? Are you seriously? Are we
I'm
setting
thinking
plans
about-
right here? Setting plans live?
Dude, hold on. What about World of Warcraft?
I mean, we can. Okay, listen.
All right, let's move on real quick. Let's move on. Well,
Don't make me choose.
other
Don't
than
make me
Rick-
choose.
Other than Rick, Dakota, I noticed you had a very interesting choice for your most anticipated game for next year.
Oh yeah, technically that's the only one that we believe is going to be landing. That I'm interested in, like super interested in, and it's Detroit Become Human. If it wasn't for the fact that Ghost of Tsushima, Takayashi, I don't remember. If there was
Ghost of Takayashi. That sounds like a plate at a Chinese restaurant.
Ghost of Hiroshima.
If
Let's
it
just
was
put random Japanese names.
if it was confirmed for this year, I would have put that on this. But I really liked. Okay, I really did not like Heavy Rain and some of the other works, but I really liked the tech demo that came out years and years ago. That is basically what this game is supposed to be. So, Detroit Become Human. That is.
I think Detroit will be fun.
I think it'd be garbage, but hey, I think it's your opinion.
I think it's going to be garbage, but I want it to be good.
Detroit
See
will
what I'm
be as
saying?
good David Cage is as a person. That's how
Okay.
good Detroit will
Wow,
be.
that puts
Well,
it
there's
in
enough of that,
perspective.
Rick.
Jamie, you and I had a similar choice for our most anticipated game of the year. And here's the real question. Do we think it's actually going to come out?
No.
I do, yeah. I do. I'm gonna just go and say it's Kingdom Hearts 3, guys. It's been over a decade since Kingdom Hearts 2. I've been waiting on this game for forever. They're done with their little handheld diversions. It's a real main game. And I think it'll be out by November.
I really hope so. I'm really excited for this one, and we talked about it quite a bit already.
Mhm.
But one game that we didn't talk about, and I want to mention it really quickly, is Detective Pikachu. I think that game is going to be a lot of fun. I have it pre-ordered. Kingdom Hearts is my most anticipated game of the year, but Pokemon Detective Pikachu is probably the one that I'm like right now at this very moment the most excited for. I am actually very much looking forward to finally playing that game.
I also want to bring up, I know we're not really supposed to because I've already made my point, but there's a couple other things that I'm interested that are probably not going to come out this year, but I'm really interested in them. And one of them is Shenmue 3, right? So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Maybe that will be good. And the other one, which we have confirmed for not coming out this year, but will come out next year, God of War 3. Hope you guys, or God of War, whatever.
Oh yeah, God of 4.
God of 4. Yep, that's right. Not coming out this year, coming out next year probably. Really excited for it, guys.
You guys are trolling Jamie so hard right now.
Yeah, I guess if we had to expand it beyond games that may not come out in 2018.
Games that we know exist.
Yeah, but for me, Bayonetta 3 is going to be awesome. Metroid Prime 4 is going to be awesome. The Last of Us Part 2 is going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, that is a thing.
Yeah, if we get a Pokemon that's not Detective Pikachu.
Fire Emblem.
Fire
Emblem's looking good. Well, we don't know anything about Fire Emblem yet, but I'm still excited for it.
We don't know anything about most of these.
Darksiders 3 is one of them?
What is it?
Darksiders 3 supposed to come out this year?
Yeah,
but nobody cares about watered down Zelda.
There's a Call of Cthulhu too.
I like Darksiders, okay? I'm really excited for Dragon Quest XI to come to the West this year. I'm a big Dragon Quest fan.
Oh,
be
Yeah,
exciting.
we know.
as well, two other ones that might be coming out. That I know that we talked about a little bit. The Spider-Man game,
Yeah, Spider-Man's
That-
going to be fun.
and this one, everyone loves this one. Ready? Final Fantasy VII remake. All right, and that was the show, guys. Hope you had fun.
That's my most anticipated right after Knack 3.
Okay, you know that's gonna happen, Nathaniel. You know that's happening.
I know it's gonna happen. That's why I'm excited.
Kingdom Hearts 3 will become bundled with a demo for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
And that is the only reason they're going to
Dude,
sell it.
I'm 100% on board with that.
Oh, you
watch, that's really gonna happen now that I said it.
Well, it wouldn't be bundled like on a disc like they used to do, but you'll definitely get a code, and then those codes will sell for like $50.
Just like hey, you got 15 with Type 0.
No, Square will just sell demo codes to help pay for the game because it's never coming out.
Dude, I'd buy a demo for it. Good lord.
I would not.
I would.
Hey,
I would very ashamedly buy a demo of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
hey now. Technically, I think all of us here spent $50 for the demo of 15, and we got that little Type 0 game as a fun free bonus.
I paid 35, not 50.
I didn't buy them.
I actually beat Type 0.
What?
Congrats.
Wow, Rick.
That was a mistake.
There was a game. Well, guys, again, thank you so much for joining us for the Beautiful Boy Awards. We all had a really good time. I guess we should really quickly plug a couple of things. This
Like
is gonna be the
Monster
last
Hunter, January
No,
26th. January
no.
26th, yes, January
Well,
26th.
Oh, Nathaniel, you guys are so thoughtful. It's my birthday.
Oh, God.
You can get Monster Hunter for your birthday.
Yeah, I could because I get paid then.
Anyways, future episodes of the Beautiful Boycast will be appearing on their very own YouTube channel. That's going to kind of help keep everything in one place for you guys to listen to everything.
The channel that this will be uploaded to still. It'll be on both.
Yeah, they'll be on both eventually. And we've also, since then, we've launched a blog. There's a link for it down in the description below that you can click on and go and read that. We've all wrote stuff on there. I think we've all had a good time writing for it so far, reflecting on video games and movies and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we now have a Beautiful Boy Twitter handle as well. I think it's Beautiful Cast or Boycast or something. I don't remember.
Butte Boycast, I think.
Butte
Is what it
Boycast.
is. 'Cause
Was
Boycast.
Beautiful Boycast really taken?
it was too long, if I remember right.
Oh, yeah. So am I.
So yeah, go ahead, follow us all on Twitter. Follow the Beautiful Boycast on Twitter. Subscribe to the YouTube channels and everything. Guys, any final thoughts before we sign off? And until the next podcast.
Support Monster Hunter on the 26th.
Yay.
Capcom depends on you. They're trying. I'm plugging it again. Just like from the
I
last
just wanna-
episode. Bye,
Hey.
Monster Hunter.
No one
I
expects.
just want to thank anyone that's listening.
That's true.
I'm listening.
I'm shilling out.
All right. Someone get Rick a corporate sponsorship.
Capcom, send me an email.
We could send them an email.
Yep.
Hey,
Put me up as a Monster Hunter social media encourager. That'll be a politically correct job title.
how about ambassador instead of encourager? God. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this episode. We can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a good evening and stay beautiful.
Good night. Love you. Also invent more Mega Super Jew machines.
Boy, I missed a whole thing, didn't I?
Yeah, tell
Yeah.
us where that ancient Jewish technology
The
is.
secret Jew tech.
Yes.